Hey friends, welcome in. My name is Dawn with Chicken Run Creations, and this week we are starting on a new series that I thought would be kind of fun. We're going to do some chubby critters, and I have eight so far that I have come up with to do. Hi P. So over the next 8 weeks, and I'll tell you a little bit more about those, and if you have any ideas for other little critters, feel free to drop a comment and make a suggestion. But I think they'll be fun. They're going to be very basic, so great for a beginner. I think they would be perfect for craft shows, so if you do, there's a moth in here, if you do craft shows, they would be great for that. They would make really good ornaments. You could put a ribbon on them and make them into an ornament. You could put a little Santa hat on the top of them and make them Christmassy. There's lots of different options that you can do. So I think they'll be kind of fun to make over the next few weeks. I don't really have anything to share with you today. I do have a couple in progress projects going. I have one order that I'm working on, and I have my membership tiger, and so I'm going to turn you around here and get you moved down so we can start making our little bunny for today. Okay, let me show you what you are going to need for our little bunny. First, I'm going to use some core wool. This is, I don't know what this is actually. I got it at a fiber festival. It does have quite a bit of grass and stuff in it, but we're going to cover it up. You could actually do this with just a whatever you wanted to use for your top coat if you wanted to. You don't necessarily need to use core, but I do like to use core. But you don't need a lot. This piece I have here is like 15 inches, and I don't even know if we're going to use the whole thing. So we'll see once we start rolling it up. For the top coat, I am actually going to use, surprise, surprise, this rabbit color from Cupid Falls Farms. But you could use any color that you wanted to make your little rabbit. I went looking through my my bin of colors, and I was like, oh, that works. I'm going to do a little bit of white on his belly, but I mean, this is way more than I'm going to need. A little bit of black. If you want to do glass eyes, you can do that, or you can use felt eyes. I think I might do glass eyes, and I wasn't sure what size I was going to use. So I have two out. I think I have a 4 and a 5 millimeter. So just little plastic eyes for that, or you could use wool to do your eyes. Your needles, my go-to is a 36 and a 38 triangle and a 40 spiral. You might need some finger guards for doing his ears. Hi, Sheila. And some of the pieces, like the legs and the arms, are a little small, so you might want that for that. A pair of scissors come in handy if you have a clover tool where you can put more than one needle in. That might speed things up a little bit. I might use this fine point disappearing ink pen to mark where I want to put stuff. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that we're going to need. So we are going, hi Kate. We are going to start by we're not going to make kind of an egg shape, but not like a real pointed egg. So I'm actually going to pull some of this off, I think, from here. And we're just going to start and roll up a ball. So I want to do this fairly tight. The tighter you can roll it, the less felting you'll have to do. Yeah, we'll probably need more than this. So, and I'm going to start with my 36 needle and just get this connected here. Kind of go along those edges there to get it to hold together. And we might not need too much more. So I hope everybody's having a good day. I was a little concerned when the severe thunderstorm warning came up on my phone, but hopefully it has all gone through. So these little guys aren't very big. Probably between 2.5 and 3 inches. This one will probably be a little bit bigger just because of his ears, but I think they'll be kind of fun to make. So if you can see here what I'm doing, I have actually taken like part of my ball here is actually already starting to form that egg shape that I have. So it's a little bit thinner up here. It's a little bit thicker down here. And that just kind of happened on its own. As I was poking, I kind of noticed that there was less over here. So I am making that to be the top of our little bunny. And I'm going to make the bottom kind of flat. I mean, if you want to make it an ornament, you wouldn't necessarily need it to stand. So it pretty much depends on if you want him to stand or if you're going to make him into an ornament or have him hang or something. So just kind of an egg shape where it's a little thinner at the top than at the bottom. If you start making your ball and it's more of a ball shape, you can always add more to the bottom, which I probably will add a little bit more to the bottom. I'm excited because Sunday we are headed to a fiber festival in Pennsylvania on our way down to check on my father-in-law. So I'm excited about that. I don't know if I will buy anything. See what I find. You don't really need anything. So you can see that we kind of have an egg shape going there. I'm just going to compare them to my picture here, and I do want to bulk it up a little bit more. The nice thing about these is you can make them as big or as small as you want. My pictures, I think, are a little bit bigger than what I want to do, but we'll see how it goes. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more. I'm going to take the rest of this that I tore off and kind of break it down a little bit. And I'm going to start here at the bottom and just strap my way up. Like so. You can see there's a lot of grass in here. I actually got this at a fiber festival in June. The woman who was selling it said that she had got a new mill for her sheep, and she didn't tell them that she wanted her wool to be a little bit cleaner than what they gave it to her as. So she was getting rid of it at a pretty good price, so I ended up getting a huge bag full. She's like, I don't mind using it, but she's like, I can't really sell it on my website like this, so. So one thing you want to keep in mind when you're doing something that you want rounded is you want to keep your item moving. Don't or your needle moving, don't keep your needle focused in one area, because then it will get flat. So you can see how I'm constantly moving my needle around, how I'm moving my item around. If you're new to felting, one question that I get asked a lot is, when do you change needles? Because your needles are different sizes. Was that the bag that couldn't fit in your back seat on the way home? It wasn't quite that big, Shari. Not quite that big. But when do you change needles is pretty much up to feel. As you're working, you'll start to notice that it's harder to get your bigger needle in to the wool. And that's about when that I switch down to a smaller needle. So this one is starting to get to that point where I have to put a little bit more effort into it. And so we'll switch down. Hi, Zelina. Welcome. We'll switch down to the 38, which is what I tend to use the most of anyway. So just looking for a slight egg shape. All right, so I'm going to build up right around here. Just a little bit. Make his bottom a little bit more chunky because we are doing chunky critters. Or we'll say chubby critters. Glad you could join us today, Zelina. And everybody else. Feel free to pop in the comments and ask questions. And we're going to want this to get fairly firm. Once I'm kind of happy with my size, I'm probably going to hop over to my 240 spiral needles just to firm it up a little bit quicker. All right, just go a little bit more. I'm just going to spread this out and wrap it around. And I actually kind of want it to come up across the top just a little bit. Kind of excited for this fiber festival on Sunday because I saw they had gone through and like highlighted all the vendors that are going to be there, and there were several needle felters, which don't always get a lot of them at these festivals because usually they're more yarn. I mean, there'll be a couple, But mostly it's like yarn sellers or knitters and crocheters and stuff like that. There isn't always very many needle felters. So I always like to check out other people's works, see what they're making, what they're selling for. I have a bunch of sheep to make, so I think I'm going to be working on those on our trip. Do most animal bodies start with an egg or a ball? You know, it really depends, but I would say probably, I would say probably 80% of the time, yes. Because if you think about it, if you look at the shape of an animal's head or body, it's either going to be an egg shape, it's going to be round, or it's even a tube shape. You can probably put most body shapes into one of those three categories. It's a good question. My mat's getting kind of messy here from the grass and stuff that is in this wool. When I sit down to do a project and I just have a picture to go by, I look at the shapes of whatever it is that I'm doing, because you can almost always break down the different parts of the animal or whatever into a different shape. And so that's what and it's even the same with drawing. If you do drawing or stuff, you can almost always break each part down into a shape. Okay, I think it's a little bit smaller than my picture, but I kind of figured my pictures were a little on the big side, so this is just about 2 inches. I'm going to flatten the bottom a little bit, just because I don't know if I'm going to want him to stand or not. Yeah, he's a little crooked, but okay. You think he's chubby enough? Yeah, he's quite a bit smaller than my picture, but I think he'll work. Okay, so I'm going to firm this up just a little bit more. You can see if I squeeze it, I still have quite a bit of squeeze on there, but it is going to felt down more as we put the top coat on, so. I'm not usually too concerned about little pieces of grass and stuff in here, unless it's pretty big, because I don't want it to break my needle. But little pieces like that I don't worry about, because they'll just get covered up. Alright, I'm going to take my top coat here next, if I can find an end of it here. I almost thought that I was almost out of this color, and then I had written on my bag that I had more in my bin. So I'm going to, now this, if I see any kind of grass or anything in here, I like to pull that out. Just because I don't want that in my top coat. Alright, so we're going to wrap our egg or our bunny. Let me see if I want to make... Yeah, I think we're just going to wrap it all first. Same with clay, start with shapes and work as... Yeah, exactly. And I really associate working with wool a lot as with working with clay, because I think there's a lot of crossovers there, except, you know, with one you're working with a needle and the other you're working with your hands and other tools and stuff. So it's very, very, very similar. I'm gonna pull this down a little bit, because now that I have this on, I think I might do the white, not cover the brown up with the white. And a lot of the rules, well, I don't know if you want to call them rules, but a lot of the techniques that you use with, say, painting come into play with needle felting as well. In not only just doing like needle felted paintings, but also in doing, you know, even animals and stuff like this when you're blending for colors and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting how the different crafts kind of cross over. Okay, so that isn't totally felted yet. I am going to take my white, if I can find the end of it. Don't need to hold that. So I'm going to take my my disappearing ink pen here, and I'm going to draw out where I want this white to go, and it's actually going to go up pretty far. Now this will disappear, but it'll pretty much get covered up. So I'm just kind of drawing a little egg shape here. Just looking at my picture, we're actually going to go around this way. If you can, how well you can see that on the camera. But we're going to fill that part in with white. And I think what I'll do is I will go around it first with the brown. Kind of adding different things into felting. Yeah, it really is. I think that's one thing that drew me to needle felting. I never worked with clay very much, but I did a lot of painting both in high school and as an adult, and so I kind of had that bit of a background to it, and just adding the 3D aspect of it really, really drew me into this. The sculpture qualities is what attracted me. Okay, yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, one thing I wish I had done clay. I don't know. When I was in high school and they had the clay classes, I don't know, it just didn't appeal to me at that point. Now I kind of wish I had. I remember one time that we had in our class, I think I was in junior high at the time, we had to make a sculpture, and I made a bank that was supposed to be like a bunny head, but it looked more like a donkey head. But I enjoyed doing that. It was fun. we have an art center in the next town down from us that offers clay classes. I should sign up and take one. But I don't need another hobby art field to take up my time. I've been watching YouTube videos in the evening on different ways for quilting because I have all these scrap pieces of fabric that I really hate to give away or get rid of, and would really like to make something with them. Homemade Play-Doh. Okay. Yeah. Now, see, I did play when I was a child. I played with Play-Doh a lot. I loved making food with Play-Doh. We would go to my grandmother's. My grandmother lived right next door to us, so we spent a lot of time at my grandmother's house. And she had the best little tea set. I thought it was great. It was the Corning, the Corning ware. You can't afford a fire. Yeah. The adult Corning ware with the blue flowers on them. Well, she had a kids version of plastic Corning ware dishes, and oh, I loved that set. It was so fun to play with that. And we would always make Play-Doh food with that. We would watch Julia Childs and become gourmet chefs with our Play-Doh. And yes, I'm dating myself now. My daughter and son went to a birthday party a couple weekends ago for my son's girlfriend, and they went to a pottery place where they had already made items that you could basically put your glaze on, and then they would fire them, but it's like going to be like 3 or 4 weeks before they get them back, which I thought was quite a while. But and my daughter said that they had a lot of people there doing it. We have one up in the mall here, but it's small. She said this one was huge. I've been tempted to take the grandkids up there to do something. Okay, so it's not totally felted down yet, but yeah, I did too. That's the only one that we didn't really have one at our house. My grandmother had all the best toys. I don't remember having a tea set at my house, but my grandma had the tea set. She had the Forerunner to Legos. Oh, definitely, Shari. Definitely much more. My grandmother had the Forerunner to Legos. They were just plastic bricks. They only came in like rectangles and square shapes. And then they had cardboard doors and windows that you could use. So we would build with that for hours. She had just a basket of wooden blocks that we would build with. And then she had the little people. She had did she only have one house? Maybe she had a couple of houses, I forget. I remember one house with furniture, and That's what we played with whenever we went over there. In the sandbox. She had a huge sandbox in her side yard. And we played lots of games. My mom worked when we were growing up, so my grandmother would watch us, and we would get off the bus from school and stay there until my mom got home from work when we were younger. So we spent a lot of time at my grandparents'. Okay, just looking at my picture here. So that's what we're going for, something like that. Yep, I loved my grandparents. It's my dad's parents. My mom's parents lived in town. We didn't see them quite as often. And plus my mom has there's 8 kids in her family, so there was always a ton of cousins around and stuff like that when we go to my mom's parents. But my dad's parents was only my dad and my aunt. And my aunt lived, not far away, 15 minutes away from my grandparents. But we lived right next door, so we spent a lot of time at my grandparents'. I guess you could say that's where my chicken love came from, because my grandfather was a chicken farmer. Although he was pretty much out of it by the time I came around. It's kind of funny because, so I started, I guess my sister had chickens for a little while when she was married to her first husband, but it was more his thing. And then I got chickens. I don't know how long ago it was, probably 10 years ago, something like that. I've always had a garden. But then my sister got chickens not too long after that. And now my cousin who lives in Florida, his wife now has chickens, and he's been building chicken coop and what have you. And I said, oh, Grandma would be so proud of you. So I'm just going over all this with my 40 spiral. I probably won't get it totally firmed up just for time's sake. Now it's raining again, which is good because we really need the rain. I'm just gonna go over all this once here. People ask how you get a nice smooth surface. This is how you do it. You just kind of take a little section, go back and forth, and then you move to the next section, go back and forth. Okay. So now we're going to give the guy some eyes. And I want the eyes to be just outside. They're right where the white and the brown come together here. and I just have a little awl here. You could use a pair of scissors, and I'm just trying to decide how far up I want to go. So just gonna go make a hole. I'm gonna try my bigger eyes here, see if I like them or if I like the smaller ones. I'm gonna go across there. Nope, that's the smaller one. Let's do the bigger one. Okay, do I want to do the bigger ones or do I want to do the smaller ones? I actually think I like the smaller ones. We're going to go with the smaller ones. So I'm going to take, I like to use this art glitter glue. If you have any, if you need links to anything, I do have an Amazon store. You can go to my link tree. I think that's what it's called. Sorry, Sunny's being loud. And find the link there for that. I just pour the glue in this. You can buy these little bottles on Amazon. I think Sunny is singing because the it's raining. Okay. He looks kind of funky right now. I'm going to take a little bit of black. I want a really thin bit here. Now, if you wanted to, you could make his nose pink. I just didn't get any pink out. I just happened to think of that. So his nose is going to start about halfway across from where his eye is. Let's see if I get this centered or not. I think I might be closer to this side. So I just made a little V. I don't have it totally poked in yet because I think I need to move it over, and I think I do. So I'm going to pull that out. Sometimes using a ruler helps. So I want my center to be here. I'll try this again. Singing in the rain. Yep, she is doing that. Okay, now it's not looking like much of a bunny at the moment. One thing, if you are new to felting, you have to keep in mind that things are going to look worse before they look better. I'm just going to add a little bit more on this side because it's a little thin. I'm actually going to bring it down. And I'm going to bring down a little bit, and we're going to give him a little mouth. You also want to make sure that this, the white part is fairly firm, because otherwise you can lose your little black lines into the wool if it's not firm. You could do this with like embroidery floss if you wanted to, and sew it in. And we're going to give him a little mouth. So I'm doing is poking it in along where I want it to go. I like to cut a little bit further from where I want it to be, and then tap it in. I might grab a little pink, fill in his nose there. He looks like he's frowning. Okay. Next, we're going to give him 2 little hands. And all I'm going to do is take a couple pieces of wool here. And a lot of times people wonder, how do you get things the same size? It starts right here by getting your wool, put it in your hand, and kind of feel it. See if it feels the same size, see if it looks about the same size. And then work them together. Don't do one, put it on, then work the other one, because you'll never get them the same size. So I'm just going to roll into a little ball here. This is where you might want to use your finger guards. If you don't have finger guards, you can use another needle to help it. So I'm just kind of rolling it around here with my needle. So if you don't have any finger guards, you can do this. Just kind of move it around and hold it with your other needle. Just be careful that you don't hit the other needle and break either of them. Okay, when I kind of have it held together like this, I like to roll it in my hands. And that just helps with the felting process. If your hands are cold, it might not work for you. You can put a little bit of hand cream on your hands, and that will kind of help to grab the wool. Alright, so I'm going to do the other one. Just rolling it up into a little ball, best I can. And give it a roll again. And just kind of compare the two of them. This one is not quite firm yet. Okay, so we have two little balls. They're about the same size. So these are going to be his hands. And we're going to put them off here to the side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the bottom of that ball and poke it into the body. I don't want to do a lot of stabbing on the top because I don't want it to go flat on me. If you want it a little bit smaller, you can poke a little bit higher up and bring it down. You can do a few stabs in the middle just to get it nice and secure. So he's got one hand. Put the other one on the other side. Okay, there's his little hands. We'll make his ears next. He does have feet. Alright, so same thing goes for the ears. You want to do them both at the same time. Actually, I think I'll do both of these. Now, when you're doing ears, I find it's helpful to take a piece of paper and sketch out your shape first. So I'm just going to kind of draw a little bunny ear here. What I'll do is I'll cut it out and then I'll compare it to the bunny and see if I need to trim it down at all. I have these little pink patterns like everywhere. I'm always making new ones instead of using the other ones. So what I'm going to do is just hold it up onto our bunny here and see how it is size-wise. And I think that'll work because it'll probably get a little bit smaller with the felting process. So now I'm going to look at my felt here and I want it to be a bit bigger, but I don't want it to be really huge. So I'm just going to pull a little bit off. So I have two pieces about the same size. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my pattern over there. You can take a pin and stick it in there to help hold it in place. I'm going to take my needle and I'm just going to outline that pattern. I used to have a really hard time doing ears and making them the same size until I discovered doing a pattern. Okay, so I'm just going to felt down inside that outline a little bit. When you're working on your mat like this, it is going to stick to the mat, but try and keep your pokes fairly shallow. You don't want to go like really hard because it'll make it distort your ear when you pull it out. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to fold over. See, I have the fluffy bits here. I'm going to start to fold that over where it's not attached, like so. I'll do the other side. And then when I get up here to the top, I have all this extra here. I just like to very slowly start to pull it in. We'll fix the point. If you lose the point, that's okay, because we'll fix that. really shallow pokes. So I'm just going to go over this once. Make sure that I kind of have it somewhat secure before I pull it off. And then when you pull it off, you want to go really gently. I'm kind of dragging my finger along the mat here to pull it off. Okay, so I'm going to set that one aside and we're going to do the other one. So same thing. Pins out of here. I don't normally pin it in place. I usually just kind of hold it, but if you're new, pinning it will kind of help a little bit. So same thing, gonna poke around the outside. Just to outline it. And go over it. And then we'll start to fold the sides in. When you get to the top, just kind of gently tease that top in. Hi Tony, welcome. Did you get your bathroom all done? Okay, so again, very gently pull it up. Okay, so now we're going to go over. Yeah, we've had a thunderstorm go through before I went live, and it's raining again, but I haven't heard any thunder, so it looked really bad on the radar, but I mean, we had a couple claps of thunder, but not as bad as it looked on the radar. So this ear is pretty rounded, but we'll take care of that in a second here. This one kind of kept its shape a little bit better. I'm going to get this pretty felted. And again, I'm not poking really hard into the mat. I'm keeping it pretty shallow. Hi Kelly, welcome. Bathroom is finished. Awesome. So last week, my son's girlfriend came up for the weekend, and like the day before she came up, my medicine cabinet upstairs in my bathroom has 3 doors that open. One of the doors, the little metal thing broke. Like, sure, it couldn't happen. And of course, it's not a piece that you can just go to the hardware store and replace. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I want to get that point back on this. So I'm taking my 38 needle and I am going along the edge. One, to get that point back, and then also to clean up the edges here. So this is where you want to use your finger guards, or use 2 pieces of cardboard or some styrofoam or something. Because I am not one of those who can do this without stabbing myself, so I prefer to not have pain. Okay, so you can see I brought back that point there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 40 spiral needle, and I'm going to just go around that edge. I don't want to change the size anymore. But I do want to kind of clean that up a little bit better. So I'm just very gently going along the edges there just to smooth it out. I'll do the other side. Hi Mavis, welcome. Okay, so there's one ear. Now this one is pretty pointy already. What you can also do if you find that your ear shapes are like totally different, you can put one up next to the other one and just very carefully go along the one that needs to be adjusted. And get them the same size. These are pretty close now, so we'll just finish this one up. This one could probably use a little bit more felting. It's a little soft. I like to take it and go right between the felt and my glove and just poke into the wool a little bit. Okay, so there we have 2 ears. I'm just looking to see. You could, if you wanted to, you could put a different color in here. I'm not going to. So now I want to give it a bit of a curve here before we attach it. So I'm pinching the bottom and poking this around the inside. I could go over this just one more time. It's still a little bit on the fluffy side. Okay, so you see I have that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just poke down at the base of that. I'm going to do the same on this one. I'll go over this once now. So I'm going to pinch it at the base and poke on the inside. And then poke down here. Some flyaways here. All right, now I'm gonna take a little bunny, figure out where we want the ears to go. Now, if it helps, you can pin these in place. If I can get my pins out here. A lot of times what I like to do is put a pin in here until I figure out exactly where I want them placed. I think that'll be pretty good. Make sure that they're pretty even. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to poke it in on the sides. Look at it. Do this one. Just be careful of your pen. Oh, you're welcome, Zena. You too. Have a great weekend. I'm going to kind of bend them out here a little bit, but just want to get them somewhat attached here first. So take out the pins. Gonna poke this extra down in the back. And the wool's gonna go where you poke it. So if you want it to lean out, just move your wool. And I always like to go back and forth, felt it a little bit, then look at it, see how it's looking to you, make any adjustments that need to be made. This one ear is a little bit lower than the other one, but that's okay. So I'm going to felt down this extra fluff that we have, and I would go over all that with my 40 spiral when I get done. Gonna go over an hour a little bit. Okay, so now we need two more things. We're going to give him a couple little feet. Not sure if he stands. Let's see if he stands or not. Yeah, he's a little wobbly. He might stand. All right, so we're just going to make a couple simple little feet. And again, you're working in twos, so you want to get 2 bunches of wool that feel about the same size. Just a couple little pieces here. And I think what I'm going to do, you could do the same thing you did with the ears and make yourself a pattern, but I'm just going to pull my wool in. I might need a little bit more, we'll see. I'm just going to make a little flat foot. Nothing. I mean, you could go and, like make a big rabbit's foot, but most of this is actually going to be hidden underneath the body, so you're only going to see a little part in the front. Pull them up very carefully. Okay, and I'm going to put my finger guards on again. That goes on the wrong other finger. And I'm going to go around just to make it a little cleaner, make it round. I don't want to change the shape too much. Okay, they're pretty close to the same size. I would felt them a little bit more. So we're going to take these and just stick them so they're just kind of peeking out underneath his body here. Get them both about the same. So he's pretty similar to the chunky bunny that I did around Easter time. Didn't even realize that when I was planning this out. A little bit smaller. But I kind of thought it would be fun to do a little series of animals. Okay, and if you want to, I'll probably do it after the fact. I would go over, just put some more wool over the feet here just to kind of help hold them down a little bit more. So the only other thing that he needs is a little cottontail. So I'm just taking a little bit of my weight here. And I do want to keep it kind of fluffy, so I'm not going to felt it in really firm. But I'm just going to keep it. Get that out of there. Come on. You want it to be attached, but I want it to still be fluffy, so you can make your tail as big or little as you want. But so it's still kind of fluffy. I'll probably give that a little trim, but there we go. I need to I don't like this black. It's got really small, short fibers, and they tend to kind of bleed everywhere. I might put some pink in for his nose. I want to clean that up a little bit. But there is our first little project, our little bunny. He could be a little chubbier, I think, but he's not too bad. So let me tell you, I have also planned right now a little fox, a little dog, a little bear, a raccoon, a kitty cat, and a mouse, and maybe a lion. Those are the ones that I was able to come up with, images that I really liked. So if you have any other images that you would like to see, just let me know. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Shari. I think if you were a little bit bigger and a little bit chubbier, but he's not too bad, I think. So, anyway, so that's what I have for you today. Next week, I think we might do the little fox. But like I said, if you have another animal other than the ones that I mentioned, feel free to drop them in the comments, or you can PM me and give me your suggestion. But yeah, I think he's pretty good. I will add a little pink there, I think. Thanks, P. I think a little pink in his nose will add to it. I don't know, maybe some eyebrows. I don't know. He needs a little finishing, so I will work on finishing him up, and I'll post a picture when he's all done. But I think this will be a fun little series. So I actually did a squirrel image, but I don't like it. So I need to see if I can come up with a different squirrel that I like better. I mean, I could do the one that I got, but it kind of doesn't fit into the same line as the other ones that I got. Ooh, a turtle. Oh, that would be a good idea. So I think I have to work on the squirrel a little bit, kind of think through how I can change that a little bit. But anyway, so that's it for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I will post if I end up getting anything at that fiber festival. I'll let you know. Like I said, right now I don't think I need anything, although I might get some white curly locks for my sheep. We'll see what they got. So, but have a good weekend. Thank you, Connie. And if you make a little bunny, feel free to share it on my page or private message me. I love to see your creations. And I will see you next week.